Hey, I'm back with a simple magical practice meant only to take a few seconds, but to have a massive impact. I'm talking about concealing yourself energetically, rendering yourself, your activities, travels, household, loved ones, etc. invisible to all lower vibratory influences, dangers, forms of control, judgments, and so forth that wouldn't totally respect or uphold your soul sovereignty or authenticity. It's like going incognito in the astral sense, consciously creating safety for yourself on all planes of being. Because that's the thing about everything being frequency. We can only perceive things that are on wavelengths within range of our own. And consciously shifting frequency to disappear on purpose is an ancient practice. Protection magic, or apotropaic or warding magic, goes way back into early human civilizations. This means fending off unseen forces, but also becoming energetically unseen oneself. Shamans have done it for ages to conceal themselves and their peoples from predators, both the animal and invading conqueror sort. Greek texts written on papyrus in late Rome and Egypt have been found with titles like an efficacious spell for invisibility and a tested spell of invisibility. A codex written in 16th century Italy in Hebrew called the Tree of Knowledge advises that after sprinkling some of the ashes of burnt snakeskin into one's eyes, you will see but not be seen. Other early modern European methods that have been recorded involved burying a severed head with black beans or boiling a black cat for 24 hours in water gathered from a fountain at midnight in a new pot, then performing a series of Latin incantations, among other things. Even into the 18th century, it was believed that fern seeds were invisible, since ferns reproduced rather mystifyingly through spores instead of flowers, and it was thought that getting one's hands on some fern seeds would make you invisible. Amaranth seed has been and still is linked with magical practices of invisibility, and a wreath woven of amaranth is said to keep its bearer invisible. Rosemary, mugwort, and vervain are some other herbs also linked to such protection, which have been and still are smudged with and made into powders and oils for the purpose. Crystals and amulets have been historically charged with the task of obscuring their guardians too, and can indeed be programmed to do so. I'm offering some streamlined ways of camouflaging yourself using pure consciousness, which is just as powerful a means of operating as we rise in vibration and confidence in our own power. And I've been inspired by a 1927 painting by Magritte titled Le Goût de l'Invisible, or The Taste of the Invisible. It's a landscape, right? Certainly not a traditional one, at least. What appears is a floaty, empty world, definitely charged with something mysterious. There's your pretty typical horizon line, but the sky looks puffed through with black clouds, and abstract forms like black tentacle trees and blocky columns of taupe earth seem to thrust up into it. And as focal points, you have two jagged, white, rectangular forms, standing quite properly erect, pierced through. Even though there's like this burning bush thing spewing out geometries squarely in front of them, the eye wants to go straight for the unearthly presence of those two white forms. Their pearly tone is virtually luminescent, being so contrasted with everything else in the frame. To me, they're like portals. We think we can see just more of the landscape on the other side of them, but how could we ever know? Hidden realms could easily lie there, as there's really nothing beyond doubt in this place. Even the title, The Taste of the Invisible, seems to hint at the fact that something imperceptible is on display here. And if they're portals, perhaps they can be crossed freely, allowing us to move unimpeded through the energetic world and dip into liminal spaces that offer the full force of our own protection. Who else is there to say otherwise? This place is open, uninhabited, except for you, seemingly the sole viewer of the scene. It can be whatever you claim it to be. And while Magritte's landscape seems and is totally surreal, it also has an undeniably lush and natural quality. It's this earthiness, I think, that actually allows us to ground ourselves within this space and somehow make it real. So I say, let it be, among everything else it could possibly be, somewhere that reminds you of your very real ability to pass through different levels of frequency, which are essentially different dimensions, at will, and that you can control who has access to your energy field and where you are fully seen. So, there are a few ways I go about this invisibility business, and all of them are super quick. One disclaimer first though. Truth vibrates much higher than malfeasance, much higher than anything else, really. So, seeking invisibility in the spirit of benefiting oneself while doing no harm is imperative for this sort of thing to work and actually hold in place. Method 1. I straight up command it. We are all master souls and creators on this plane. We certainly can command things. This is what I say, either out loud or in my head. I will and command that I am rendered invisible to all matrix authorities and to all lower vibrational energies, entities, and agendas. In all realms and dimensions, in all time and space, in all forms, in all realities. It just cuts to the chase and feels effective, and it is. Trust that it is. 2. I ask the angels. They are universal, multi-dimensional, non-denominational beings that love to assist humanity. But for the most part, you have to ask for them to help you, since free will is a thing. So simply ask the angels, your guardian angels, any archangels, or angels you resonate in particular with, or simply just angels in general, to make you invisible when you feel you want or need to be. They will help. Ask to feel it in your body, though, if you're not sure, and take any sudden energetic shifts or sensations that feel resonant as confirmation. That'll help you build your confidence in general. Or take some extra initiative by envisioning wisps of sparkling, silvery white angelic light coming together and creating a thin, filmy, but impenetrable force field around you, shielding your whole being and expanding you behind the scenes to a point you're comfortable with. 3 is for my wizards and sartorialists out there, the classic invisibility cloak. I envision them as velvety, midnight black-colored hooded capes with silky linings, stitched together entirely from voidal energies. The void is like the interdimensional space of everything and nothing at once, the creation and destruction point from which phenomena emerge and can dissolve back into. So, imagine black fabric that reflects absolutely no light swirling and draping around you, covering the top of your head and third eye with its hood, and then swallowing the entire length of your body from all sides. And then imagine it just melting into your surroundings, like it was never there at all. But no, it's there. Last, but most def not least, number 4 involves painting yourself all over in invisible ink. Imagine a giant magical paintbrush appearing and covering you all over with shiny, silvery pigment that's slightly thickened and viscous, but still fluid. You can make it feel even thicker, like paste if that works for you more. It kind of gets glooped all over you in successive brush strokes, until you feel confident you've been sufficiently coated. This silver ink is sleek and slippery, in a discreet, elegant way that carries the softness and subtleness of the divine feminine and its mystical nature. And you can imagine that just dissolving away into unseenness as well. And those are my different methods of dipping under the radar for you to pick and choose from. Important to all 4 ways is holding the expectation that you are invisible and protected after doing them. Selecting one depending on how you feel just makes for good daily practice, but it can be especially reassuring when traveling or driving, when in an unusual or uncertain situation, when alone in places, or walking at night or through crowds. Also, when putting your work out there into the world, ensuring that only those of a resonant, well-meaning frequency can find it. You can hide from the trolls. And like I said before, you can invoke invisibility for yourself, your family, friends, pets, wild animals, plant life, strangers you see or hear about that you feel called to offer such protection, buildings and properties too. You can probably work in this vein with any light beings, imagery, or little rituals that particularly speak to you, because it's a pretty open-ended concept. And now that I've shared my favorite ways, feel free to share yours in the comments with me. Practices like this are especially useful for those who tend to fear authority, persecution, or other people in general, which could be related to parallel lives, witch wounds, or psychic wounds, trauma in this life, or blocks you subconsciously placed upon yourself. It'll help you feel strong, capable of being your own authority, and of offering yourself protection. Because we do create our own protection. Building a habit that makes you feel untouchable will allow you to go everywhere in full power. So remember that potent magic and energetic tools are only ever one thought away and can be incredibly simple. Now I'll say bye, and I know you won't find me rude just this one time when I tell you to get lost.